after a couple of years, not really a couple of years, I was in G form. By the time I got into upper six, she had already gone away. She went to the US. So it was such a great relief for me. Freedom. Freedom, all those obligations and attachments to another person. I'm sure that all of you have, who are involved in a relationship would know. There's a price to pay. There's a price to pay for your relationship, right? Yeah, you're bound by certain obligations and expectations. So that was in my early years. But I was, come to think of it, a lot of people at that time make fun of me because they knew about the story and saying that I'm just going after stale rice. But I was very loyal. I did not really take too much, did not feel really a need to defend her. I just kept her company and tried to help her. And after that, she left. Okay, as I said, it was real freedom. Then again, when I went into USM, that was after third year, or rather during my third year, one of my classmates fell in love with me. I can talk about it because she's dead already, so it's okay. Okay, what happened was that, well, I took a liking to her because she was quite an exceptional girl. And we could talk about intellectual and spiritual things which other people in my course, were not really interested in. And I liked the company. And she was a bit boyish too, so we used to go out quite often and going out hiking, jungle trekking, hiking up an hill, going to the beach. But again, it was a platonic relationship. It was something intellectual. I never had any sexual fantasies with her, nor any sexual attraction. But maybe you can say that it's definitely no sexual attraction because there's the yin and the yang, in our Chinese. The yang and the yin principle, and they get together, there seems to be a sort of a harmony. So anyway, one day, she came to see me in my house. I was staying in Ven Aggacitta. So one evening, she came to my house where I was staying. And she came and I looked at her expression and she seemed very troubled and tense. So I asked, what's wrong? And she said, no, nothing. Let's go for a walk. So we went for a walk, went to Gully Drive, because my house is just next to Gully Drive. Walk on, as we were walking, and then suddenly she said, I think I'm in love with you. And being an intellectual, I asked her, how do you know you're in love? I didn't take her by the arms and kiss her and say, oh, I love you too. Because I'm still trying to find out what is love. What is love? I didn't say that I love her. And then she said, well, because I think she's already rehearsed the answer. Because she knows I'm an intellectual and a philosophical person. And immediately she said, because I care for you. Okay, that's interesting. Caring for another person. Loving care, loving kindness is one of the translations of metta, right? So anyway, actually, I couldn't say that I loved her because I didn't understand what love was at that time. I just had a liking for her, and it was a platonic relationship as far as I'm concerned. It was more philosophical and spiritual, you could say, because we had interesting discussions on the Tao and Zen teaching. And actually it was during that time, in my third year, that I became so fascinated with Zen, particularly Zen meditation, that I lost interest in my course and spent most of my time in the library looking up all those spiritual books, on Zen, on the Bhagavad Gita, on Sufism, on various forms of Buddhism and Christianity. So my grades dropped from A to D. A means average, D means distinction. That's why I tell my friends when they tell me, hey, you got D, and yeah, that D was distinction. Anyway, I lost interest in all those worldly things, and I wondered, what the hell am I doing here, Why am I pursuing all these grades for? Because as I went deeper and deeper into Buddhism, I found that it's all actually very transient. We are all living for pleasures of the senses. Yeah, we're working so hard so that we can, get a good job, get good salary, and get security, get a partner, and think that you'll live happily ever after. A lot of people who get married later tell me, such a big mistake. Venerable Suwarno used to say, that marriage is a booby trap. But by the time you realize it, it's a bit too late, right? You got your children, you got the commitments, yeah. And especially if you get children, then it's like it's a lifelong sentence. Okay, luckily I was wise enough. Right, okay, now I was going around, where was I? So I was, in my third year, I was, getting so, getting so enthralled and attracted by Zen Buddhism. I wanted to learn how to meditate. But I didn't know any Zen teachers around, and I didn't know Mandarin, although I know that there's a couple of Chan teachers in Malaysia. But I knew only later. At that time, I had no knowledge of Mandarin. The only books available were in English. At that time, very little books, very few books on Zen Buddhism. That was in the 70s, Well, who do you have? You have D.T. Suzuki, and then you have Paul Reps, and then you have Alan Watts, those few people. But anyway, those few books that were available at the time were good enough for me to get inspired. And I strove for the ideal of staying alone up in the mountains in self-reliant, self-sustaining, self-reliant, growing your own vegetables, painting, writing poetry. That's the Zen ideal. But finally, at that time, I was still going around with my friend, my girlfriend, you could say. She's a friend and she's a girl, okay? So that's why I call her a girlfriend. Not a girlfriend these days, where you can stay together with like a man and a wife. No, we were just friends, a girl and a boy. And then one day, I saw her talking to one of my best friends. I say he was one of my best friends because he was the one who introduced me to Zen. He gave me a book, or lent me a book called The Way of Zen by Alan Watts. And that really changed my life. It blew my mind, gave me the other aspect of reality, which is beyond rational and beyond thoughts and words. So she was talking to my best friend at that time, and we were laughing away. And then suddenly I felt jealousy. My goodness. I had already started to read up on Buddhism. I know all about anatta, I know self. And then I looked at myself, and then I saw this jealousy arising, and I said, my goodness, I don't even belong to me. How can, and she doesn't even belong to me, why should I get jealous? Huh? And then I said, well, if I really, went steady with her and got married with her, my goodness, I'll be suffering.